Sometimes movie makeup will make you believe an actor has aged 50 years right in front of your eyes. And then there's this.
I am the sole white survivor of the Battle of Little Big Horn.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst old age effects in movies.
Don't you dare speak that way about George.
For this list, we're looking at those old age makeup jobs that had us laughing instead of amazed by the talent and skills behind the effects.
Now what with my last breath, when I try to help save this country again, I'm rewarded with a forced retirement.
We're excluding intentional and comedic effects like Dan Aykroyd's in Nothing But Trouble, as we're only interested in more serious attempts.
Hula, 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 the boola, boola, boola. Look who's got the front seats of the Mexican hat dance now. Just like a bunch of spiders in a birthday cake.
Number 10, Julianne Moore as Laura Brown, The Hours.
Yes, I'm Richard's mother.
In this drama, Julianne Moore plays a 1950s housewife whose life is connected to two other women's through Virginia Woolf's novel Mrs. Dalloway.
Have you read the poems? Oh, yes. Oh. I also read the novel.
At the end of the movie, Moore's story jumps forward several decades, and we see her as an 80-year-old woman.
It's a terrible thing, Miss Vaughn, to outlive your whole family.
Now, we're not saying the makeup is particularly bad in these scenes, because if we looked that good at 80, we'd sure be very happy senior citizens.
You're a lucky woman.
However, Moore's Laura Brown barely looks a day over 60 here, and all the makeup artists seem to have done to the 42-year-old actress was add a few wrinkles and make her hair gray. Sorry guys, but we think an 80-year-old looks a bit older than that.
I know. They say that.
Number 9, Winona Ryder as Kim Boggs, Edward Scissorhands.
Snuggle in, sweetie. It's cold out there.
Here's a tip. When one of your film stars is a 19-year-old actress, don't make her up to look like an old woman. Just hire an older actress. Otherwise, you get this.
Well, all right.
After telling her granddaughter about the famous Edward Scissorhands,
Hands? Scissors?
No, scissor hands.
Winona Ryder's character is shown slumped in a chair, seemingly dead to the world with her soulless eyes.
She never saw him again. Not after that night.
However, that look was probably just Winona being furious that she had to sit in the makeup chair for who knows how many hours.
Because I was there.
As the elderly Kim Boggs, she is barely recognizable, but not in a good way, as her skin looks fake and her forehead reminds us of Frankenstein's monster.
I'm not finished.
Oh!
We don't know what the makeup artists were thinking here, but it ends the movie on a sour note.
No, sweetheart. I'm an old woman now.
Number 8, Michael J. Fox as 2015 Marty McFly, Back to the Future Part 2.
Hello? What the hell is this?
Let's just start by saying that no one looks particularly good in this movie, but no one looks as bad as Michael J. Fox as 2015 Marty.
Oh, yeah, great, Mama. We're like a couple of teenagers, you know?
In these scenes, old Marty is supposed to be 47, but the opposite of Julianne Moore in The Hours seems to have happened. They made Fox look far older than his character should.
No, I'm sorry, I missed that whole thing.
Not only did they give him a really weird hairstyle, but his makeup is also caked on so heavily that it looks like he should be retiring sometime soon.
And if it doesn't work, Needles, I could get fired.
It's also a bad sign that at 54 years old in 2015, Michael J. Fox still looks younger and better than his movie counterpart in Back to the Future Part 2.
And now, you have kids almost that age?
I have kids older than that.
Number 7, Dustin Hoffman as Jack Crabb, Little Big Man.
My name is Jack Crabb.
While we have to give makeup artist Dick Smith props for making 33-year-old Dustin Hoffman look unrecognizable in this Western, we think that if you plaster enough wrinkles and prosthetics on anyone, it would have probably turned out the same.
Tall tales. Are you calling me a liar?
In the comedy, Dustin Hoffman plays a 121-year-old man recounting his life as a cowboy. And damn if he doesn't look like a face-drooping zombie fresh from the grave through it all.
111 years ago, when I was 10 years old.
His nose is as pointy as a witch's, and there's an insane amount of wrinkles and bagginess going on around his face.
I said turn that thing on and shut up.
While we understand that you won't look like George Clooney when you're in your hundreds, this movie takes things just a bit too far.
Now you just sit there and you'll learn something.
Number 6. Leonardo DiCaprio as J. Edgar Hoover, J. Edgar.
It all starts out peacefully, doesn't it, Mr. Irwin?
In this biographical drama, Leonardo DiCaprio gives his all to portray famous American FBI director J. Edgar Hoover. And this includes undergoing a makeup process that'll make him look as though he's advanced in age.
Files are not yet completed, Mr. Tolson. Please go away.
The result was some terrible-looking prosthetics. With Leo's makeup being caked on so badly, you can almost see where the actor's real face ends and the makeup begins as he turns his head.
What's critical at this moment is that we re-clarify the difference between villain and hero.
The constantly furrowed eyebrows don't help either.
You asked that I pursue this organized crime element, Mr. Kennedy, and I did so, sir, with diligence.
For such an Oscar-baity movie, you'd think the makeup would be better, as Armie Hammer certainly wasn't an improvement.
Someone get a doctor. Now. Someone get a doctor now!
Number 5. Bette Midler as Dixie Leonard for The Boys.
Miss Leonard.
I'm Miss Leonard. You care to try again?
Anyone even remember this movie? No? That's probably because the horrible makeup effects scared everybody off, and our brains just automatically erased it from memory.
I ain't going to that cockamamie dinner, so you can drop the charming act.
To refresh, in this comedy drama, Bette Midler plays Dixie Leonard, a youthful performer who entertained soldiers during World War II.
Righto, we were halfway to Belgium when we ran out of gas, I believe you call it.
The story is told through flashback, so Midler's character needed to be aged for the present-day 1990 scenes. But we can hardly tell it's her under all that makeup.
No, honey, not me.
And no, we don't mean the old age effects. We mean the beauty makeup.
That was me. Isn't that a hoot? Me.
When her natural face is shown, her skin looks like putty. And again, nowhere near what a woman at that age should look like.
When I first met him, he was nothing.
Number 4. Mel Gibson as Captain Daniel McCormick, Forever Young. Mel Gibson may as well be forever young in this movie, considering the complete lackluster effort that the makeup department put into aging him.
Show off.
Maybe that's why they named the movie that. In this forgettable film about a man who is cryogenically frozen for 53 years, Gibson plays said man.
She'd say we'd grow old together.
And as such, requires some extensive makeup to appear older. And by extensive makeup, we mean they give him white hair. That's about it. Gibson's face is barely aged a day, as if the makeup department thought that getting older only encompassed changing hair color and a lighter complexion.
You're holding my heart.
Some movies go too far, some don't go far enough. This one barely even tried.
So you gonna marry me or what?
Number 3. Orson Welles as Charles Foster Kane, Citizen Kane.
You're in a tent, darling. You aren't at home. I can hear you very well if you speak in a normal tone of voice.
Yep, even Citizen Kane is not safe from our wrath.
You can't do this to me.
Considered one of the finest movies ever, it still has at least one glaring problem. And that's the bad makeup job of aged media tycoon Charles Foster Kane, who is played by Orson Welles, and who was only 25 at the time.
I sympathize with you. Charles Foster Kane is a scoundrel. His paper should be run out of town. A committee should be formed to boycott him.
His makeup has divided viewers for years, mostly because some consider it good for the time.
You've gone completely crazy.
To play the older Kane, Welles' hair is cut and grayed, his face is slightly more plump, and his eyes are really baggy.
From now on, everything will be exactly the way you want it to be. Not the way I think you want it, but your way.
It'd be fine for an amateur production, but this is Hollywood's prized gem, and some say the makeup tarnishes some of its quality today.
Rosebud.
Number 2. Guy Pearce as Peter Weyland, Prometheus.
What is our purpose? What happens when we die?
This is the Alien prequel that disappointed everyone. But perhaps no one was more upset than Guy Pearce, who had to sit in the makeup chair for 6 hours a day for a movie that really wasn't worth the effort.
I only have a few days of life left in me here. Didn't want to waste them till I was sure that you could deliver what you promised.
As Weyland Corp's CEO, Pearce still looks like himself, only extremely wrinkly and fake.
If these things made us, then surely they could save us.
The wrinkles go a little overboard, and the blue veins running throughout his forehead make him look like a scarier alien than the alien himself.
Tell him we came, just like he asked.
It doesn't help that his character is completely forgettable either. Apparently, Max von Sydow was Scott's first choice, but really any older actor would likely have been better than this.
A king has his reign, and then he dies. It's inevitable.
Before we gape in disbelief at our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
I'm fine. It's just that you're so big.
Oh, everything's gonna be fine, Marty. Are you hungry?
And my body is deteriorating. And like all of you, will eventually cease to function.
Well, why don't I just announce it tonight? All them thousands of people out there just sitting listening.
Number 1, Jared Leto as Nemo Nobody, Mr. Nobody.
Do I know you?
In this film about the different paths a man's life could take based on pivotal decisions, Jared Leto plays Nemo, the last mortal man on an Earth where everyone else has basically achieved quasi-immortality.
Every path is the right path.
While we have to commend Leto for his acting chops, it's just too bad that the poor makeup job really lets him down.
I'm Mr. Nobody, a man who doesn't exist.
As the 117-year-old, his old age makeup is absolutely caked on, to the point where we can only laugh. And it doesn't help that the elderly Mr. Nobody kinda looks like Johnny Knoxville in Bad Grandpa.
You know, you're pretty sexy.
Thank
I mean, really sexy.
This was Leto's last role before he temporarily refocused on his music career, and we can't really blame him for that.
We did everything we can do in this dump, and it was wonderful.
The makeup process must have been absolutely torturous, especially for such a lackluster final product.
There's a mirror in front of you.
Do you agree with our list?
You convinced me.
What poor old age effect had you shaking your head at the screen?
Nobody calls me chicken needles. Nobody!
For more well-done top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Everything could have been anything else, and it would have just as much meaning.